guys, Raven of Ash here. Today we are watching some Hawkwood invasions. I wanted to do a cosplay series because I was getting a bit tired of the meta invasion builds. Get your armor min-max, get your chase weapon, get your dagger from Monster Repost, etc. On cosplay invasions the build is generally flawed, and I get to try other, less effective setups, which is fun. A lot of this footage was also on the Hawkwood the Destroyer montage. However, I felt like some commentary to my thought process on these invasions could be interesting to some, and so I decided to do this video. This video is divided in two parts, the commented invasions themselves and the analysis of the weapons and build used in the cosplay in the end. Read the description of the video for the timestamps. Enjoy guys. This is a really quick invasion on the catacombs. The party is nearing the bridge and I must act fast. When invading I always try to do the unexpected. In this case, I take out the bridge as it is the quickest escape route for the party. I don't know if they have noticed that the bridge is down. If they did, I will try to make them forget by instilling some fear with the trap. Controlling your aggression is a big part of invading. In cases like this, when my opponent is nearing the fog gate and I cannot reach him in time, I try to be less aggressive, even passive, in order to lure the host into fighting me. This is just a quick invasion about the merits of setup parrying, specifically against spears. With the exception of the Ring Knight Spear and the Dragon Slayer Sword Spear, which is a halberd spear hybrid, spears tend to have simple pokey movesets that do not do a lot of damage with one hit. Spear users tend to R1 a lot when you get at attack distance in order to prevent your attack using their superior range. That makes them the perfect target for setup parries. So let's talk a little bit about the weapons used in the cosplay. First up is the Farron Greatsword, aka the Breakdance Sword. The Farron Greatsword is one of the more unique weapons in Dark Souls 3 because of its L1 moves and built-in parry tool. It was buffed in May in a patch that added some AR to it and lessened its stamina consumption. Even so, it's the lowest damaging Ultra Greatsword of the game. This is compounded by the fact that it does not allow buffing or infusing. Also, it does not have bonus AR from strength because it always counts as one-handed. This one-handedness is also a problem against parry spammers, as the L1 moves can be parried as well as the R1s and the R2s. So basically all of its moves except for the jumping attacks are parryable. As for combos, the first L1 stun locks your opponents into the second L1, but not the third. This third L1 is risky, so I very rarely do it, as it leaves me exposed and it's so telegraphed that opponents just roll away or counter it. Its parry tools has similar startup frames than the medium shields, so not very good, but it has a bit more active frames than the medium shields. See the table in the description. This was also my feeling while invading. It was a bit easier to parry than using medium shields, but worse than small shields and small parry shields. In invasions is a weapon with a high skill ceiling that required you to be very comfortable with parrying. Do not spam the L1 attack, that will get you killed very fast. This is because the L1 moves leave you locked in the animations for a long time and very exposed to multiple enemies, so use them very wisely. Also, the L1s are easily interruptible by ultra great weapons everyone is carrying these days. It was not possible in this video because it's a cosplay video, but the Farron synergizes well with the weapon art shield like the Black Knight shield or the Cursed Greatsword shield, allowing you to surprise your opponents with the Farron parry tool as well as enjoying a high stability and 100 physical block shield. So, after all of this, do I like it? Hell yeah, because it's unique, flashy, and has a versatile moveset allowing for a lot of mix-ups. It's by no means a meta invader weapon, but it's a weapon that once mastered will leave you feeling like a flashy invader god, and not many weapons can do that. The Bastard Sword. Shit, I hate this weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's a great sword, so it's always going to be good, but I feel it's weak relatively to other great swords. I feel it's the Claymore's ugly sister. It has less range than any great sword, does the same damage as the Claymore, but with a much worse moveset. The Claymore has more range, it has a pokey moveset. All of its R2s are pokes doing thrust damage, which is good for Leo Ring builds. Bastard Sword is the only great sword that has a stomp into launch weapon art. A big advantage of this weapon art, besides the damage you can cause your opponent, is that you will leave him primed to be hit by Lloyd's Talisman, or to give yourself the opportunity to heal while their character model stands up. However, because the Bastard Sword blade is so short, a lot of opponents will quickly roll out of range of its weapon art. This needs further confirmation, but I was watching some of my recorded invasions, and oddly enough, the damage of this weapon art is not much lower from what an Ultra Greatsword stomp into launch weapon art would do, despite the significant AR difference between a Greatsword and an Ultra Greatsword. However, keep in mind that the stomp weapon art is very risky in invasions against multiple opponents or skilled ones, because it can easily be punished by backstabs and it drains a huge amount of stamina, leaving you open for retaliation. That's why I prefer the Claymore weapon art stance over the Bastard Sword stomp. Claymore's stance weapon art, on the other hand, has two moves, the guard break R1, which is very strong for guard breaking shields, and the upward stab in the R2, that does massive damage and is one hell of a roll catcher. I'm doing a cosplay of a character that uses this weapon art, and I will review it in more depth then. And don't get me started on the other great swords that you can choose instead of the Bastard Sword. You can go with the Black Knight Sword, which is a beast in invasions, the Hollow Slayer, or Gael's Great Sword, for example. On the good side, I will say that the Bastard Sword weighs very little and has the lowest necessary stats of any great sword, and it can also be buffed and infused. So it can be a good alternative for low level invasions, but not so much at the soul level meta of 125. As for Hawkwood's shield, and aside of looking cool as fuck, it's just a worse small shield than the Weldon or the Iron Round shield, having less damage absorption and stability than those alternatives. Well guys, that's it for this episode. Next up I was thinking of doing a Hodrick cosplay. However, for that to happen I need to get the spell Warrant. That means getting 30 shekels from the Moundmaker's Covenant, or as I like to call them, the Blue Balls Covenant, because you always pull out before you finish. So, Mr. Horace will take the spot of Mr. Hodrick on the next episode by farming the damn shekels. So thanks for watching, and see you later guys.
Ah, Another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions.